The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Good talking with you. Appreciate it. That was Phil in Martinez. Let's go to Mike in Oakland on line 4. Mike, hello. Welcome to KSFO. I'm Rabbi Daniel Lappin. How are you this afternoon?
Hi, Rabbi. You mentioned the national election debates, and I completely agree with you about the choice of the format.
Yes.
You did make a comment, whether you meant to be provocative or not, that I...
Me? Provocative? Mike, you forget my paths are the paths of righteousness and my ways are the ways of peace.
Okay, well, let me tickle it. You may... You're an engineer, I know, and a rational person, so let me make a comment. If, as you suggested, that we did consider the very attractive Marco Rubio, Marco has a problem that, in fact, has been recently, I'd say, completely isn't a good way of describing it, but resolved by recent discoveries. There is settled case law, a Supreme Court case that establishes, with no doubt, with many citations having been made to it, the definition of a natural-born citizen, and he just doesn't fit it. Now, members of both parties may not want that to be discussed because because both parties are complicit in the cover-up.
Mike, you shock me. I've heard nothing about this. I do know Marco Rubio was born in Miami. His parents were Cuban immigrants. Why is he not a natural-born citizen?
Well, let me give it to you in a concise form. The case Minor v. Happersett, 1875. Anybody can look it up, but don't look it up at JustiaGate because they are the ones who've covered up the information, which prevented intelligent people from reading the citations themselves.
Could you just, instead of you're sounding a bit too much like a lawyer, which sends shivers up my spine.
Well, it is law, but let me read you.
Just give me why it is that somebody born in the United States is not a natural-born citizen.
At common law, with the nomenclature of which the framers of the Constitution were familiar, it was never doubted that all children born in a country of parents who were its citizens became themselves, upon their birth, citizens also. These were natives or natural-born citizens. That is settled law. That's case law. That means the definition A equals B. And
so are you saying that the issue is Marco Rubio's parents were not yet citizens when he was born?
Exactly. They had both to be citizens. This was never doubted. There were 25 citations to this case, even the famous Wong Kim Ark, his first citation.
So tell me something. Why in all the discussion, I'm not knowledgeable on this, but why is it that on all the discussion about Marco Rubio, so much so that he himself had to step forward and say, you know what, I'm not ready to run, I'm only 40 years old, why did nobody say, hey, you know what, he can't run anyway?
A lot of people have. It's that the press, we have a media that is strongly in favor of Obama. They're not about to report this. You'll find that people who have been...
But if they're in favor of Obama, they should report it because he'd be a most threatening candidate.
No, Obama is also not eligible because his father was not a citizen. In fact, Obama was born...
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Well, I think it's extremely unlikely that this would prove to be a practical obstruction to a Rubio candidacy.
I mean, our law is our Constitution. We can say, well, we'll just let this one pass. Then do we let the First Amendment pass? Do we let the Second Amendment pass? Because we've all agreed that, well, he should be considered. After all, his parents were here.
Interesting.
That is,
I don't know. That's a very interesting thing. I'm not sure of the answer.
Go to Leo D'Onofrio's site.
No. I don't go to anyone's sites. I use my own head, but I appreciate it.
But Silicon Valley has a company, Justia.com, that covered up the 25 cases which cite to...
What are you telling me? They obscured that?
Absolutely. They edited the the Supreme Court cases, 25 of them.
How fascinating.
That is a fact.
I mean, if that's a fact, it's that's worth a story.
It absolutely is a fact. The story
Wonderful.
is being a little bit... let's say the story is not exactly being broadcast, but it's a fact. There's something called the Wayback Machine. You probably know about it. The Google Archives. The original documents of this case, which is Justia, is the largest, the most used reference site for Supreme Court cases. People do use Lexis and Nexis, but in fact Perkins Coie, which is perhaps the biggest and the defender of Obama in many of these other lawsuits, cited Justia as the source for their
Mike, you're very well informed in this.
Well, I'm an engineer too. And you want to know the truth.
Talk to an engineer.
You have to understand what
Exactly.
the laws say, and this is what the law.
Fair enough. Going to take a quick break, Mike. That's very interesting, and I don't quite know what to make of it, but I will look into it. You're raising a very interesting piece of information I didn't know about.
Sure.
All righty. So we still have to talk about organ purchases and anything else on your mind, because I am here for you. I am your rabbi, available to you only here on KSFO, where the phone number is 808-5600. That's right, 808.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.